Hello, everyone. Good to see old friends and new friends. Ms. Dr. Kalyan, Raj Sharma, good to see you. And Mr. Wang Yiwei, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a very long time because of the pandemic, unfortunately. And many other friends from different countries are here. Welcome, welcome. We will begin after 4 minutes. Just waiting for some other friends to join from different countries. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the international seminar on the Belt and Road Initiative Regional Cooperation, which is a special session of the Friends of the Silk Road clubs of all regional countries of South Asia. My name is Mustafa Haider Syed, and I'm the Executive Director of the Pakistan-China Institute. And it takes us great pleasure to host this first of its kind Friends of Silk Road Club meeting and it's an honor for the Pakistan Friends of Silk Road to host countries, including but not limited to Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Malaysia, Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, and of course, China. The Friends of Silk Road in Pakistan was the first Friends of Silk Road that was initiated to serve as a platform of political parties, businesses, civil society, and youth, women, and all those who are actually friends of the Silk Road. And since its initiation in 2019, the Friends of Silk Road in Pakistan has become as the focal platform of understanding, interpreting, and enhancing the Belt and Road Initiative. And not only limited to enterprises, but to local communities, different regions of Pakistan, provinces, universities, and academia. And we are very much looking forward to the very interesting discussion that we will have today on the people-to-people bonds of the Belt and Road Cooperation and how the Belt and Road will unveil in the post-pandemic world order in 2022. And as I earlier said, they are old friends and new friends. I welcome also our important friends from China, including Mr. Wang Yiwei, who's a distinguished scholar from the Renmin University. Our friend, Dr. Kalyan Raj Sharma, who has participated in earlier conferences that we've hosted as well from Nepal. And we have other friends from different countries as well. So without much further ado, we will hand over to Senator Mushaid Hussain Syed for the opening remarks, who is the chairman of the Friends of Silk Road Pakistan, chairman of the Pakistan-China Institute, chairman of the Defense Committee of the Senate of Pakistan, and former Minister for Information, Culture, and Youth Affairs. Over to you, Senator Mushaid Hussain.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from Islamabad, and ni hao to our Chinese friends. First of all, my greetings to all of you on the holiday season. Happy holidays. For those who celebrate Christmas, a Merry Christmas. And those who are going to celebrate the New Year, a very Happy New Year to you, your friends, and your families, and your countries. And it's a pleasure to be hosting this very important international conference of like-minded people from different parts of Asia at a time when the world before us is being transformed. And we are very fortunate that we in Pakistan, the Pakistan-China Institute, were privileged to be the founders and the hosts of this initiative of the Friends of Silk Road. And when we started off in February 2019, as the Chinese saying goes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And the first step has now become a giant leap to build a better tomorrow through corridors, through culture, through connectivity. And today, as we can see on our screens, the representation is of diverse and distinguished people from various countries of Asia, in South Asia, Southwest Asia, Southeast Asia. And so we are all together at a time when the Belt and Road Initiative, which was launched by President Xi Jinping in 2013, has now become probably the most important diplomatic and developmental initiative of the 21st century, with over 117 countries of Asia, Africa, Latin America, Middle East, Europe, signing on to this. Whether it's the Silk Road economic belt through the land or the maritime Silk Road. So this connectivity is being viewed by the majority of the international community, by the majority of global public opinion as the way forward. Ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I would like to compliment our Chinese friends as we close this important year of 2021 on 2-3 important developments that took place this year, on which it is quite a success. First of all, my compliments to the Communist Party of China as they marked the 100 years of the establishment of the CPC. And the Communist Party of China has been the builder of New China as well. And one of the pillars of building New China has been poverty alleviation. And it was in 2021, this year, that absolute poverty has been eliminated from China, which is again a very historic development. And I remember my first meeting with President Xi Jinping. It was in 2010, and he was then vice president. And I remember talking to him for 1 hour in the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. And we discussed about China's future and his vision for the future of China. He became president 2 years later. And he talked about the vision of China for the next 40 years, he said. And he mentioned then that in 2021, we will eliminate absolute poverty from China. And then he mentioned about 2030s and 2049 also, which will be 100 years of the establishment of the People's Republic of China. So it's very important that what was talked about, what was professed, has been practiced. And I also want to compliment our Chinese friends on the success story of combating the coronavirus pandemic, which is a scourge, a common threat to humanity, which is a borderless enemy. And China contained it successfully. And not only that, then China, after containing coronavirus successfully, and we remember last year, the Wuhan lockdown of 76 days, which was quite heroic, we see that China distributed the vaccines made in China as a global public good. The first country to do so. And 85 million of those vaccines, whether it's Sinopharm, we got our first vaccines, Sinopharm in Pakistan, Sinovac, CanSino. So they have saved millions of lives. They've helped millions of people to recover. So that also has been an important contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of the Friends of Silk Road, we're talking of a people's platform reflecting different aspects of society, whether it's political parties, whether it's youth and women groups, whether it's business, civil societies, NGOs, a platform to promote people-to-people understanding, promoting connectivity, and to build a better tomorrow for a shared destiny. And today we see the diversity and the development of this initiative, as can be seen from today's important event. And we feel that when we talk about this connectivity, this is about win-win cooperation. This initiative of the Silk Road, the Belt and Road Initiative, it's not directed against any countries. It is to bring countries, cultures, civilizations, continents together. And that has been achieved. So we feel that this is the way forward, especially for us in Asia, who have seen conflicts, confrontation, cleavages in the past. Especially, we are just seeing the end of the 9/11 era in our part of the world. And we would feel that the Asian century, which has been heralded in the 21st century, demands a new kind of approach to international relations, in which China has taken the initiative through the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI, and the Friends of Silk Road is something which is supplementing and supporting that positive initiative. But at the same time also, we should be very wary of other trends which are there. And I'm glad that it's not just coronavirus pandemic on which China has taken the initiative. I was last month recently in Glasgow for the COP26 conference, representing my country and my parliament, Pakistan, there. And I was very happy that China has also shown leadership on climate change. And President Xi Jinping has given new commitments to ensure mitigating the consequences of climate change. So this leadership, whether it's the coronavirus pandemic or climate change, are very positive. But we see some other trends, and I'd like to just briefly point out those trends. There is a lot of disinformation and fake news. There is still a Cold War mindset in certain parts of the West, especially among hawkish elements in Washington. And I was recently also in Washington in November, meeting people in the US Congress. And I told them that after 20 years of the so-called war on terror, after 9/11, the world, and especially Asia, needs a respite from any kind of war, hot war or cold war. And this kind of zero-sum game, a Cold War mentality, is something which is not acceptable to Asia. And we feel that globalization, the common threats of climate change, coronavirus pandemic, poverty alleviation, demand cooperation, demand consultation, demand connectivity among various countries and continents for a common, better tomorrow. And we also feel that some of these initiatives that have been taken in Asia, for example, when they talk of AUKUS, for example, the Australia, UK, US initiative, or even giving a military meaning to Quad, or trying to build up an Asian NATO, these are not positive trends. These go against the concept of peace, concept of the principles of peaceful coexistence, Panchshila, which is a product of the Asian Renaissance. So we feel that it's important that when we are taking these initiatives to bring people together under common platforms, that we reject such notions of conflict, confrontation, Cold War. And we feel that it's important that like-minded friends in Asia cooperated. And now we have a platform. And this platform, for the first time, has been brought together in one important conference. So I feel that 2022 should also herald meaningful, institutionalized, periodic cooperation. How can we do that? Maybe I just have some ideas. Maybe we should start by even this group, which is there, the core group of our Friends of Silk Road. We can start with a WhatsApp group or a WeChat group, communicating regularly. We can exchange electronic newsletters. We can be hosting that newsletter and start with that. Keep each other abreast of each other's activities and keep each other abreast of each other's trends. And we can also have a common website, perhaps, on the Friends of Silk Road, where experiences are shared. Because after all, we have a common heritage, broadly a common history, and a common vision for a common destiny. So it's important that today's meeting result in some initiatives that are long-lasting to knit our Friends of Silk Road clubs together. So we continue this cooperation successfully, and that we also learn from each other's experiences and share each other's experiences. And that, I think, would be an important element of our success. So I want to wish all of you a very happy New Year. I want to thank you for your patience and listening to me. And I thank you for participating in this first ever global conference of the Friends of Silk Road, hosted by the Pakistan-China Institute. And I look forward to further interaction with all of you collectively or bilaterally or multilaterally, and the themes have already been enunciated. And I think they are all something which are convergent with our broader interests and our vision to build a better tomorrow with no overlords and no underdogs, and a peaceful and a prosperous future. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Mushahid Hussain, for your very fruitful recommendations for coordination between our countries, and also on how the region has changed with the COVID-19 pandemic and the role of China that we have seen emerge as the biggest challenge to humanity emerged a year and a half ago. I just noticed that former ambassador, Pakistan's ambassador to China, Ambassador Nagmana Hashmi, has also joined. Thank you, Ambassador Nagmana, for joining. And Syed Hassan Javed, who's former ambassador to China as well from Pakistan, is also here. Welcome. Now we will go to...
I just want to add, Syed Hassan Javed has written a new book, China as Number One, which was launched yesterday in Islamabad. So I want to compliment him, and I would like to share that book with other friends of the Friends of Silk Road, inshallah. Thank you.
Now we will proceed to topic 1, which is strengthening multilateralism through mutual understanding. And the context of this topic is that as we see certain cliques being formed, certain groupings, and at a time when the need of the hour is multilateral cooperation, international cooperation, we see the grave challenges of climate change, of the COVID-19 pandemic. But we see that certain countries are pursuing narrow political interests that give precedence to interests of the ruling elite of certain countries over humankind. And the first speaker of this session is Mr. Wang Yiwei. Mr. Wang Yiwei is the director of the Institute of International Affairs of Renmin University. And I remember that in the first Belt and Road Forum, the CGTN had a show on the sidelines, and it was a pleasure to be with Mr. Wang Yiwei together when Dr. Robert Kuhn was the host of the CGTN show on the context of the Belt and Road Forum. So over to you, Mr. Wang Yiwei.
Thank you, Mr. Senator, and also Mr. Senator and all the distinguished friends. I to show my PPT. Please allow me to use my PPT. The song.
You can use.
This shows the. Sorry, I cannot use the PPT. I don't know why.
We have enabled screen sharing, so you can share.
You can please help me to show this PPT.
Yes, our IT is working on it, and we've already enabled screen sharing for you. So what you can share your PPT screen.
Okay, I began to talk, and then your assistant helped to show to others. The Belt Road Initiative, this I think it's very important to understand. It's about civilization. From the Asian, different civilizations connect each other from the west to the east continental Eurasia continent. Today, it's also about the adaptation of the civilization. Whether what kind of civilization should adapt the new environment after the pandemic. People think about the globalization, now it's globalization, global regionalization. Supply chain should be more resilient. So whether your system, your political system, your supply chain system can be adapted to a new kind of situation. The U.S. problem, the domestic politics, they are not adapt to others so much. They only blame China, blame others. This is their problem. So today, digitalization, ecology civilization is a new concept of two civilizations. So whether those Asian civilizations can be jointly with, like China, we said, great regeneration, and also adapt to the new concept like ecology civilization and digital civilization is a huge challenge for everybody else. Looks, most of the countries, actually, developing countries, they're not industrialized, but they have the new challenge that carbon neutrality. If not achieved, realized industrialization, but now should cut the CO2 emission. So how can you both handle of these contradicted goals? So the Belt Road Initiative after the pandemic, that's to show that actually it's the wisdom to how to coordinate and the balance of the different goals. So I think that's a huge challenge for the Belt Road Initiative. So in my PPT, I can show you that after the pandemic, the resilience of the BRI, nearly all of 145 countries, including 32 international organizations, they signed an MOU with China to jointly build a Belt Road Initiative. Nearly all the African countries, all Arabic countries. Why is still growing so resilient? Because it's very neat. Because it's a people-centric development model in China. We share with other countries. When the 1960s, 80s, so-called Washington Consensus, it's off capital, by capital, and for capital. So it's only the innovation, technology innovation, the investment only focused on the rich people, the make the rich richer, strong stronger, the poor poor. So that kind of a model is, of course, cannot be sustained, even in the United States. So that's the reason Trump elected so-called Rust Belt. In the world, if we cannot to handle this issue, to change the model from the capital-driven to people-centric development model, the world will be suffering lots of the crises, refugee crisis, terrorist, I think the populist, it's everywhere. So I think the most important for us to understand the Belt Road Initiative is the transformation of the civilization from to more focus on the people. The traditional globalization is China is as a market power practicing. US is innovation power, financial and technology innovation. The European Union is a normative power. So that's a kind of a triangle. But today, US also decouple, so-called decouple, built the in the name of the multilateralism, but actually it's the alliance system, exclusive to China, to somebody else. So we need a new kind of civilization, the true multilateralism. Firstly, you should be on the lateral. You should be independent. You should be access to the technology and development. Otherwise, so-called multilateralism, you are marginalized. So-called the exclusive multilateralism cannot solve this problem. So all the initiative like China Belt Road Initiative, we are open, we are inclusive to everybody, to I think to jointly to build our better future, shared future for mankind. So that's basically I think my understanding of the Belt Road Initiative. Okay, The three parts in my PPT. The first one is about the globalization in transition. The two kinds of the transition. One is to globalization, global regionalization, global supply chain. I think the Belt Initiative is highlights the different hubs, not just one hub, one center, other periphery of the kind of Washington consensus system. So change that. So different local hub, maybe now Afghanistan after the U.S. service troops, maybe it's be the hub to connect South Asia, Western Asia, Central Asia, even China and continental and maritime. So that secondly, transition is from the China as a world factory, now China be the world market. It's more focused on digitalization, ecology, civilization, and also for health. So more for people. So that's kind of the two kinds of the transformation. And then the Belt Initiative also transferred. I think at the beginning, the Belt Initiative is more focused on Eurasia continental mutual connectivity, infrastructure building. So-called 65 countries, including China, 6 economic corridors. But now we think about it, it's 145 countries signed the MOU with China. It's globally. It's not just the infrastructure building. It's more on mutually connectivity. Mutual connectivity, not just hard connectivity, but also soft. So-called soft internet mutual connectivity, like different legal system, different cultural, the different political systems, they can harmonize. I think that's very important, because the WTO is a traditional globalization. But now we need like RCEP. Now with China also joined the CPTPP. China also signed the bilateral investment treaty with European Union. So it's a more high quality, high level of regionalization and globalization. So that kind of transformation. Of course, many new challenges with this the great transformation. First, about a digital Silk Road. The many people, many countries, regions still suffer the lack of the electricity. Now, 70% of 5G stations built in China, but this causes loss of electricity. So if you are without enough electricity, how can you transfer to 5G? So that's the challenge. And also about the so-called data trap. Now the US put for the data trap, UK, say like Huawei, they have the security problem, not the safety problem. Actually, if only rely on the US, there's no problem. Anything if they are built by China or jointly with China, that's trap. So that's the Americans' excuse. And then also, but we needed to build more consensus for the digital mutual connectivity about data safety security. So China also jointly of the global data safety security initiative recently with African countries signed jointly on the data security protection. I think that's maybe in the South Asia with other countries, with other regions also will follow up this. So that is about digital Silk Road, about not just about data security, also about the rules. As the data is also about different kinds of beliefs and way of living. For instance, the US blame China will eat with a chopstick, save one hand. The left hand still use the cell phone to do business and learning. So they say this is unfair competition, whatever. So they have many excuses. The second about the Green Silk Road. When China declared that we are not invest any of traditional of the coal-fired power projects abroad, I think that's very important. Even we need to do this because China still mostly rely on the coal factory. But we need, because of the China put forward the by 2030 of the carbon neutrality reach the peak, and 2060 to be reach the carbon neutrality. I think that's very important. 130 countries also put similar goals. And the third about Silk Road for health, as the senators mentioned about the vaccine. If China not produce so many vaccines as a public goods, how can the poor countries they can be vaccinated? So far, African countries only 8% be vaccinated, so it's a huge problem for them. Now, China, not just made in China, sent to all the world, produced in 16 countries of the vaccines at the different regional hubs to provide public goods for the local that cultural region. So that's the of the Silk Road for health. And then recently, President Xi also in July, they celebrate of the 75 years anniversary of the United Nations establishment about the global development initiative, because China as the first country ahead of 10 years to reach the SDG 17 goals, like lift poverty and all this. So many other countries actually the postponed even cannot achieve that goal. So there are 8 core areas for the global development initiative, including basically the idea is people first, people centric, but also about the low carbon technology transfer. So that's I think is more urgent to reach that kind of goal. And some people even question about when China put forward a dual circulation strategy, where Belt and Road Initiative is not much investment. Actually, dual circulation strategy is about Chinese economic growth per se. It's more domestic demand, innovation. China as a world factory and China with a world market, but we still need circulation with the BRI countries. It's a circulation. It's not just the goods or investment, but also about the data flow and also about servers, about innovation, about the high level of the standards and the rules to set jointly. And then come back to China and South Asia cooperation. Firstly, South Asia, actually the Silk Road, we learn Buddhism from South Asian countries, including Pakistan. And that's our joint history, our joint memory of culture. Today, the regionalization also means the regional community that we build the shared identity of the history of their memory. And then you can have the shared future. In this regards, we can have more people-to-people exchange to like a movie, like a drama, like a novel, all kinds of to find the our common heritage and a common memory, and also maybe because now it's a VR about AI or all kinds of technologies, so we can have the metric or the new versions of our future designing, particularly for the young people. And then, according to the global community of shared future, I think that we should draft the new history books. The traditional history books is your history, their history, they're separate. We need to take the world as a whole to redesign our history. It's our history. Recently, I also attend the democracy of the common values of human being. I also learned from African friends, like recently the Tutu, the South African, passed away. His motto is Ubuntu. The Ubuntu motto is I am because we are. So it's not I in English always, capital is the individual centric. Think about we, the biggest we, of course, is a human being. So we first think about the human being as a whole, and then think about our personal or national interests, aspiration. I think that's very important. So in that kind of mentality, we can have a more not just for economic cooperation, but also to jointly build common and shared values, shared identities. And finally, the Belt and Road Initiative, how to deal with the US and the European challenges, so-called the Building Back a Better World and the Global Gateway Initiative of the European Union. They are different with the BRI, even they're saying that they are versions of the BRI. The American problem is that all the American initiative is exclusive. Somebody cannot join. Like in Latin America, Venezuela, Cuba, or Bolivia cannot join. Okay, that is their alliance or they are political ideology oriented. Second, they are capital driven, private capital driven. Private capital driven is focused on the rich, make money, make a bubble. So even domestic challenges, the US now they cannot pass in the House of the Representatives because with the billions of the trillions of the US dollars of the infrastructure building, even domestically. So how can you rely on the US to invest for the infrastructure building for you? And most importantly, US is not a world factory. They cannot build this, even they have their AUKUS here with Australia, but they cannot build this for them. China is their world factory as a most completed categories of the industries in the United Nations. So we can most efficient and cheapest to build all the kind of the infrastructure. For the European Union, they have the Global Gateway initiative. The European Union said this is a value-oriented initiative, different with China. The BRI is development-oriented. But if you say you're value-oriented, but value cannot eat, cannot make you live the poverty. Yeah. Of course, you should best firstly after the pandemic to deal with the economic recession. You should first make money for the lift the poverty. You should first make the economic recovery. You should first build the infrastructure. You should first have the economy, and then you can talk about the value. If you say high values, high standard, and then other countries, of course, those countries cannot jointly. They isolate in the industrialization, they continue to be isolated, even marginalized industrialization. So that we welcome of the competition, but the loss of if China and the US and the European Union can work together to cooperate, whatever name, don't BRI, we can check the name with Global Development Initiative, whatever, but jointly to build the mutual connectivity infrastructure for the world. That's the most, I think, welcome of that. But they are not in that kind of intention. They just want to, you cannot accept China money, China's investment. That's a trap, so-called debt trap. That's the data trap. That's anything trap. It's China trap. You just rely on my empty value, high standard, exclusive, and then make those countries difficult to take side, and then make trouble for the world. So it's not a healthy competition. We don't worry about competition, but we need a healthy competition. We need to work for the people, not just in the name, because China do, and everything exclusive to the BRI. So make that kind of trouble. So that's unfortunately, I think. But of course, European Union, they have lots of the low efficiency in doing so. They have also populist government domestically, lots of the problems. But it's just sometimes the empty service to say something to make those countries, like in Nepal, the Americans, the millennium, the goals say, oh, 600 million US dollars to invest, and then you don't use the China money. But whose money doesn't matter actually. Who can not just invest, can build the infrastructure, who can lift the poverty, who can help you to have the industrialized. That's makes sense. If US can do this, welcome. China always ready to work together, cooperate together with US and with the European Union to make the world be better. So that's, I think, my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Wang Yiwei, for your very comprehensive presentation and about the sustainable and inclusive approach of the Belt and Road, and as opposed to an exclusive approach. Many other points which you made. Thank you. Before I go on to Mr. Kalyan Raj Sharma, just one request. The time limit for every speaker is between 5 to 6 minutes because we have multiple countries participating today, and we would like to give appropriate and adequate time to every speaker. So that is 5 to 6 minutes within the topic one. Now the second speaker is Mr. Kalyan Raj Sharma. Over to you, Mr. Sharma.
Hello, namaste, and ni hao, respected chairman, and all friends from the different part of the South Asia and South Asia, and those friends of the Silk Road, and we are together, and it's very nice to meet after a long time. So I want to send my greetings to all of you. So it's very nice to see that Belt and Road Initiative Cooperative organized in the Friend of Silk Road Club, Pakistan. And I also represent Friend of Silk Road Club, Kathmandu. So It's very nice to meet all of you together. So anyway, what I'm going to tell now about the regional cooperation. So Belt and Road announced by President Xi Jinping in 2013. So since that, it is increasing by day, as we have seen a lot of countries, more than 126 countries, 29 foreign organizations, and 174 different participating document has been done. So after this BRI initiative, as I've seen the data, there are more than 80 billion US dollar has been invested and more than 300,000 jobs has been created. So it has helped a lot for the developing and cooperating and sharing the things. So China has emerged as a ray of hope for South Asian country as a stable development partner, complement their development needs at the time of the global economy is showing Western donor funding is declining. So actually China gradually strengthening their economic relations with China, embedding, continue with growth and expanding. So South Asian country has come the different perspective BRI, South Asian Silk Road Economic Belt and 21st Maritime Silk Road. China's Belt and Road Initiative in South Asia include 4 major projects that we all know like CPEC, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Economic Corridor, Trans-Himalaya Corridor, China cooperation with Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives under 21st Century Maritime Silk Road. BRI is most up and coming project to the China-Pakistan corridor runs through the Asia. The BRI's most critical country, India, is also located in South Asia. In this connection, allow China to minimize the reliance on shipping by Singapore, Malacca Strait, while Pakistan benefit from infrastructure, industrial growth along the telecommunication network in whole South Asian countries. During the 2015-16 India's blockade to Nepal, we have realized that importance of diversifying its commercial transportation connectivity with China. The memorandum understanding was described as a most significant effort in the history of bilateral ties, heralding the new era of cross-border connectivity between China and Nepal. Under BRI, Nepal has been offered access to China's 4 major ports in order to minimize Nepal's excessive dependency with India. This support is regarded as one of the most enthusiastic infrastructure undertaking ever diverse. With such a compelling potential, Nepal couldn't have stayed silent. Nepal formally joined the BRI on May 12, 2017. 5 years after this inspection, adding another vital strength on the amicable ties between the two countries. Both Nepal and China has identified 9 projects upgrading the Rasuagadi Kathmandu Road, construction the Kimathanga Hilly Road, construction the Nepal Chinese border, and the Tokha Bidur Highway, and Galsi Rasuagadi Kerung transmission line, Kerung Kathmandu Rail. These many projects we have initiative. With all of those initiations on the horizon, the necessity of complete those projects must be primary stage of attracting the finance and technology. Not only with this stage participant vital for the Nepal's overall development under BRI concept of collaboration, but so will social involvement. To obtain significant benefit from BRI involvement in Nepal must solve local, geopolitical, cultural issue. It will be critical to invest ground level project targeted to improve living standard of the people, researching collaboration, academic potential to the construct this green inclusive corridor can be necessary step in approach. Nepal should have issued the precise proposal outlining the percentage of the cost it would be there and the sum of foreign anticipant from China in the form of grant or low interest loan. Actually, just now Professor Wang also tell about the MCC. Actually, there are being a lot of issues in the MCC. So MCC is one of the greatest grant received from Nepal by the US in the history. But MCC grant is not in the best interest of the Nepal because there are certain issues. The agreement is allow for the involvement of US military unit in Nepal, resulting in similar scenario to that for the Afghanistan. It undermined Nepal's sovereignty and integrity. The US want to fulfill its vested interest by requiring this agreement to be approved by the parliament, and it needs Nepal to acquire explicit permission from India before implementing the project. Because of these issues, it's not good for the Nepal's sovereignty of this MCC. Also, at the article of 5.1, the agreement also states that if the MCC fund is discovered to be utilized or employed for helping military and police activity in Nepal, the US government has the power to terminate this agreement. MCC is component of the United States Indo-Pacific strategy, which include military component generated opposing China friendly neighbor. According to the MCC agreement, it states the provision in the compact will take precedence of Nepal's current law in the event of conflict, which require parliamentary confirmation. The MCC is the first grant agreement that must be approved by the parliament, which make it more controversial. Friend of Silk Road in regional organization consists of Bangladesh, Malaysia, Nepal, Pakistan, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and others. The objective of the FOSR is promote cooperation between the countries in the various safes, including trade, investment, discuss issues such as economic development, strengthening youth policies, different level of cooperation. Friend of Silk Road Nepal is an initiative that brings people's platform, bringing together from the different segment of the societies, as before says the friends of the like-minded. So FOSR Nepal started with including representatives from the communities, politics, media, commercial, and opinion leaders, youth and women, professional and civil societies, learner and academician. The forum aimed to provide the deeper understanding as well as information about the advantage of the reward of development and growth afforded by the multiple opportunities originating from the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. China's Belt and Road Initiative.
Sorry, sir, you have 1 more minute left, Mr. Sharma.
Is smaller South Asian countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Maldives, which MCC is also targeting the same countries for infrastructure and networking initiative, with the total population of 2.5 billion people. South Asia is a market of huge invest and participant in the one of the fifth South Asian population are youth and age of between 14 to 24 years. Hence, BRI is tremendous economic potential in South Asia. Nepal should commit non-alignment foreign policy, promote BRI, protect by national interest by the focusing on transmitting and reliability. In failure of Nepal to accept grant and foreign direct investment, but only in key area to order the promote productivity, the environment, social coordination, employment, and long-term development. Finally, politicians and officials are concerned about what India will think about Nepal pursue the BRI project. With the geopolitical pressure mounting, the political leadership has remained the exist to move the BRI forward. To move away the BRI initiative necessity and strong political will. Nepal must clearly define its goals in terms of with sector take international loan, which accept only international grant, and which take soft loan or subsidized loans. So thank you very much and wish you all of you a happy new year and hope 2022 will be greatest year of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma, and great to learn that there's so much happening in the China-Nepal relationship, particularly under the auspices of the Belt and Road. We'd now like to invite Mr. Dilip Barua, who is the chairman of the Bangladesh-China Silk Road Forum. I would request the IT to please unmute Mr. Dilip Barua.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Please, sir. Over to you.
I want to say good afternoon, Honorable Chairman of this session, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. At first, I congratulate you all for New Year's greetings. We are at the corridor of the 2022. So on this critical juncture, we are happy to meet with the distinguished guests like Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Malaysia. I want to say Thailand and other countries also. I want to say, perhaps all of you expert regarding these topics, today's topics. I want to add some things else, maybe. The Belt and Road Initiative is a development strategy adopted by the Chinese government involving infrastructure development and investing in 152 countries and international organizations in Europe, Asia, Middle East, Latin America, and Africa. Belt refers to the land routes for road and rail transportations called the Silk Road Economic Belt, whereas road refers to the sea routes or the 21st century maritime Silk Road. It was known as the One Belt, One Road, and with Road Economic Belt and the 21st Maritime Silk Road until 2016. When the Chinese government considered emphasized the word one was prone to misinterpretations. The Belt and Road Initiative can transform the economic environment in which economics in the region operate regional corporations on the new and import transportation infrastructure and policy reforms could substantially reduce trade costs and in improving connectivity, leading to a higher cross-border trade and investment and improved growth in the region. The Belt and Road Initiative is the new visions of Communist Xi Jinping for reviving a new Silk Road covering land and sea, aiming at better global economy and harmonious world. In the same time, Communist Xi Jinping new visions of the globalizations and the creative thinking to link the East and West by the old Silk Road and the Maritime Silk Road for enriching traders from the Atlantic to the Pacific. BRI is the most ambitious infrastructure investment effort in the history of the mankind and will be benefited large number of people than the Marshall Plan launched by the USA after the Second World War. The principal objective of BRI for achieving a connectivity of shared destiny for all mankind would mean shaping a new visions of globalization with Chinese characteristics, which is likely to be distinct from the one led by the USA after the World War II. The BRI, which is a new visions, will create a new wave of globalization for a new development strategy for the world. But ironically, the West, led by USA and India, against the concept of BRI and tried to create adverse situation to jeopardize the Chinese initiative, and the coming days will be the more critical for enhancing this concept, and process of BRI may lead to a difficult situation. Both the USA and European Union have challenged the Belt and Road Initiative with raising huge funds for development work. Moreover, the Corona COVID-19 pandemic throughout the world has created a worse situations to promote BRI concept. So the BRI initiative may require more time to get momentum, but prevailing situations of the world will lead BRI to win-win cooperations with the promotes common development and prosperity and a road towards peace and friendships. There will be the ample of opportunities to give more efforts to integrate the development of strategies of the countries along the routes of the Belt and Road Initiative and develop which will be towards common prosperity of the mankind. On the theoretical concept of Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, we have organized the Bangladesh-China Silk Road Forum. The principal objective of this organization is to exchange similar ideas and initiative between Bangladesh and China and other countries along the route of the Belt and Road Initiative with a view of building a community of common destiny in the mind. Moreover, it will help for defining policy, consideration, facilities, connectivity, unimpeded trade, financial integrations, and peoples to peoples bonds, as well as uphold the multilateral trading systems and depending on the trade between the two countries. We are a strong supporter. Our country, Bangladesh, is the member of the Belt and Road Initiative, and we are our common people. They are very much interested regarding the Belt and Road Initiative, regarding Belt and Road Initiative. We want to organize all sections of the peoples in our country, intellectuals, students community, labor, and other thing also. At the same time, we are wanting for BCIM economic corridor, but still there is some problem with the Myanmar border regarding Rohingya. But this, if we are able to implement this BCIM economic corridor, it will be very helpful for South Asia as well as Bangladesh also. And we are try to connect with this economic forum, but whether the geopolitical situation will not allow Bangladesh to be the part of this economic forum. So I think there is an ample of opportunities for this Belt and Road initiatives, and I think in this way we will develop gradually, and it will create an economic forum in course of time to help the peoples to peoples connectivity and to oppose the, I want to say, what US and our regional power try to impose the third world countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dilip Barua. I think the BCIM has a lot of potential. It's in a very important area where there's a big emerging market. There's a youth dividend, population bulge, and it can do wonders. And I think it's very important to know that and understand and acknowledge that the Belt and Road is a very inclusive project, like my friend Wang Yiwei said. And it's not against any particular country. In fact, I remember at the Belt and Road Forum, the first one, the United States was officially not there, but the governor of California had attended it himself. And I can see Mr. Wang is nodding his head. So this is it's a very open forum, and Pakistan, China have also asked India and other countries to be part of it, because it's purely an economic project of connectivity. And as we've seen that Afghanistan has also expressed its interest and enthusiasm to be part of the Silk Road. Now we would like to invite Madam Dararat Puch Mongkol, who's the Assistant Secretary General of the Thai Chinese Culture and Economy Association. Madam, pardon my pronunciation if I didn't do justice to your name. And over to you. IT, can you please unmute Madam Dararat? She's in the second row. Please unmute Madam Dararat. There seems to be, now you're fine. I think now you're unmuted. Please, over to you.
Okay. สวัสดีค่ะ Thank you for introducing me and your pronunciation is very nice. Thank you. My name is Dararat Phutmongkol. I'm from the Thai Chinese Culture and Economy Association, Thailand. In the past, the Silk Road trade route was created to make peace and civilizations. The intention was to end the war and conflict between China and the tribes surrounding it, and also to expand and facilitate international trade. After 18th National Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, President Xi Jinping has the initiative to establish the One Belt, One Road initiative, which Thai people so call it the Silk Road. It is the biggest project to build world peace and help facilitate international trade among humankind. It is truly the magic of the wisdoms of the central leading of the China Communist Party to stop the conflict and war, which has been the atmosphere of the world for a long time, since the World War II. This initiative is one of the largest establishments in humankind. As Thai people, I would like to express our admirations for the wisdom of the initiative with strong confidence that eventually the peace and development of civilization will lead us to endure peace and end wars and conflict in this world. Therefore, at the APEC meeting hosted by China, Thailand was the first country to announce our support to the establishment of the One Belt, One Road project, and officially, substantially participating in this project as the founder member of the AIIB, which helps fund the country that participate in the project. Today, the benefits of the initiative to all humankind has manifested its brightness and greatness. As a result of how much impact and benefit this project has on this world, hundreds of countries have participated in the One Belt, One Road project. It is now obvious to the world that the One Belt, One Road can bring advantages to the international economy and civilizations on a global scale. It will also bring peace and unity to the world. History has shown that our world is filled with peace and that civilization cannot flourish during the war. However, the selfishness and the endless greed of people have never vanished. President Mao Zedong called it this the demon of the war, which is the threat to the humankind and shall come to an end to bring enduring peace to the world. Because the remarkable benefit of President Xi Jinping's initiatives is the truth of this era. There is no darkness or leverage that can stop it from happening. The private sector in many countries decided to establish the Friends of Silk Road Initiatives Club. As the Thai Chinese Culture and Economy Association can foresee the benefit of these initiatives, we participate in this initiative to help build the network and the private sector globally, and to support the One Belt, One Road initiative to help to bringing benefits and happiness to the mankind. On behalf of the Thai Chinese Culture and Economy Associations, I'd like to thank Pakistan's Friends of Silk Road Club for hosting this event. And I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Chinese Communist Party for giving us all a chance to be a part of this event. And through this conference, our association has signed an agreement to show our support for the Friends of Silk Road and encourage the world to support and participate in the One Belt, One Road initiative to lead the success of the most significant initiative of this world. Thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Excellent, Madam Dararat. You're the only one who has adhered to the time limit, and I'm very grateful to you for that. And we really wish the Thai-Chinese relationship to blossom. Thailand is a very important country in East Asia and a very fond destination for all of us. Now we will move to the topic 2, which is shared interests of the Belt and Road countries, how to preserve protect and promote the Belt and Road Initiative. And as we know that since its inception, the BRI has attempted to create a community of shared future and destiny for mankind. And as the Belt and Road is moving forward, we are seeing that there are a lot of challenges that are coming towards the Belt and Road from different countries and media, and regarding the debt trap, regarding low employment of local communities, and there's a lot of disinformation as well. So this session will address these issues and how the Belt and Road countries can better coordinate between themselves and amongst themselves and have a joint shared strategy in dealing with the challenges to the Belt and Road countries. I would like to first invite the first speaker for topic 2, Mr. Dai Yong Hong, the Director of the Institute of Global Governance and Area Studies of the Shenzhen University. And over to you, Mr. Dai.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and also ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me to be here to share my understanding of this topic. So my topic is the new situations and opportunities for high quality Belt and Road cooperation. As we know that the new round of scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation have brought about unprecedented competition. Global issues such as climate change and epidemic prevention and control are having unprecedented impact on human society. The international environment for Belt and Road cooperation is becoming more and more complex. Faced with such a new situation, it is all the more important for us to pursue high standard, sustainable, and people-friendly development and stay committed to high quality Belt and Road cooperation. So next, I would like to focus on 6 guiding keywords to be addressed, and that is connectivity, health, green and innovation, and poverty reduction. First, strengthen hard connectivity infrastructure and soft connectivity in rules and standards, and jointly open up a bright future for integrated development. Since the launch of the Belt and Road Initiative, many infrastructure projects have been completed and delivered tangible results. The circle of friends of the BRI continues to expand. The hard infrastructure, the hard connectivity infrastructure in countries along the BRI provides important support for high quality Belt and Road cooperation. But next, we need to push connectivity to a deeper level with the hard connectivity of infrastructure to drive the soft connectivity of rules and standards, and ultimately achieve the hard band of people around the world. So on the other hand, enterprises should pay attention to international economic and trade rules and compliance operation. Relevant departments should continue to improve and perfect China's own compliance system, create better external conditions for enterprises to avoid risks, and drive the international soft connectivity of China's rules and standards. This is the first point. Secondly, I think that all parties will work together to make BRI more concrete. The unipolar world order that the United States has been trying to establish for many years is becoming increasingly difficult to maintain as the world situation is increasingly moving towards multipolarity. So with the development of emerging economies, the economic aggregate of developing countries and developed countries have changed significantly. Regional economic composed of developing countries have become shifting towards the non-Westernization and multi-polarity. The BRI is a platform for multilateral cooperation, which can strengthen multilateral dialogue and cooperation between China and other countries in the world, and promote world economic development and social prosperity and stability. Therefore, high-quality BRI cooperation is of great importance to regional and country studies or area studies along the BRI. It not only adapts the changes in the current international pattern, but also helps enrich the detailed cognition and comprehensive understanding of the relevant countries, and makes scientific research on the situation and conditions of cooperation and development. So the second point. The third point is to forge closer health partnership and build a health Silk Road. So in 2020, the sudden outbreak, as we know, the COVID-19 has profoundly changed the world. But the pause button for BRI cooperation has not been pressed. The Belt and Road partners have worked together to fight the epidemic and seek common development and making positive contributions to international cooperation and on epidemic prevention and control, helping countries fight the epidemic, stabilizing the economics and protecting people's lives. Although the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated disruption of global supply chains and value chains, it should also serve as an important opportunity for China to strengthen industrial chain links with the countries along the BRI, especially the field of healthcare. There is great potential for enhancing cooperation with countries along BRI. For China and the world, COVID-19 outbreak is a new challenge and a new threat, of course. Many countries' health deficiency is being exposed as a result of the outbreak era. Public health cooperation will still be important role in the building of the area studies, creating health Silk Road, which will continue to promote people's health and well-being. So in China's 15th five-year plan and the outline for the vision and goals for 2035, China will actively carry out cooperation with BRI countries in healthcare and in the infectious diseases prevention and control to build a Silk Road of health. So number 4, green, the key word green. Green is the underpinning of high quality BRI cooperation, and innovation is an important way to achieve high quality development. So against the backdrop of global climate change, building a green belt and road has become an important part of the BRI. And in recent years, China has been committed to green and innovative development under the BRI, and China has explored a very quite a number of successful practical paths. So through this international sharing of innovative knowledge, technologies, and products, China has an important productive base for the green development of BRI. And the development, and this, I would like to just cite some examples to show that. So By strengthening cooperation in green infrastructure, green energy, and green finance, and improving multilateral cooperation platforms, such as the BRI International Alliance for Green Development and the Belt and Road Principles on Green Investment, should be the focus of discussion in the future. We should not only carry out the regional support for the development of green and low carbon energy in developing countries, promote green low carbon development information sharing and capacity building, and deepening cooperation, ecological, environmental, and climate, even more in the area, in the process of project financing. And so they should need these joint efforts of the BRI countries. And lastly is about the poverty reduction, because BRI is to can be very useful for poverty reduction and growth, and the fruits of development should benefit all the people. BRI, as we know, is an important measure taken by China as an emerging major country to benefit and contribute to the world. Although the global economy has shown signs of recovery, the path of recovery among countries has shown serious disparity, and the developing countries will be hit harder by the pandemic. According to UN estimates, nearly 100 million people have been pushed into extreme poverty as a result of COVID-19. Although China has scored an overall victory in battle against poverty and accomplished the arduous task of eliminating absolute poverty, but the global poverty remains grim, and the gap between the rich and the poor in some countries have widened, making it difficult to achieve the poverty reduction targets set in the UN 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So China's successful experience has proved to the world that poverty eradication requires sustainable substantial investment in infrastructure, human resources development, education, healthcare, and agriculture development. So the practices and experience are being passed on to the relevant countries through the BRI. According to some estimates that according to the World Bank report, by 2030, China's BRI cooperation is expected to lift 7.6 million people out of extreme poverty and 32 million people out of the moderate poverty. In the future, China will further build the BRI into a growth for poverty reduction and growth. So the above mentioned the 5 or the 6 guiding keywords, I just is my conclusion for this high quality Belt and Road cooperation. And that is the connectivity, both the hard connectivity and the soft connectivity, health and green, health Silk Road, and the green and innovation Silk Road, and also of course the poverty reduction. This is the final goal for not only for China, but also for the BRI countries and human beings. Thank you very much. This is my understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Dai, for your very, very good insights on the Belt and Road. And now I will hand the virtual podium to myself to speak on the shared interests and on the 3 Ps of how to preserve, protect, and promote the BRI. I think that first, to understand the context is very important. And when you talk about the context of the developing world, a lot of Asia, particularly South Asia, Middle East, Central Asia, and Africa, have always traditionally depended on the Bretton Woods institutions, the World Bank and the IMF, to some extent on the ADB. So in 2013, when President Xi announced in his visit to Kazakhstan, the Belt and Road Initiative, it was a game changer for the developing world, because the developing world has been, as I said, dependent on these particular institutions that also, of course, have political interests and are managed by countries like the United States, like the United Kingdom. And the World Bank and the IMF are also tools of and political levers of these countries. And as we know, that after the Treaty of Westphalia, these institutions were created for this particular purpose, to preserve the US architecture, the financial architecture of the United States and the West, to preserve and protect and enhance that. So when the Belt and Road Initiative was announced, it was a boom for developing countries, because for the first time they had an alternative, which they never had before. An alternative for means of development, an alternative for power projects, for roads, for infrastructure, and mind you, for universities and people-to-people connectivity as well. It's very important to understand that the Belt and Road Initiative is not just hard projects, it's also soft projects. As my friend earlier said, the Health Silk Road, digital connectivity, and people-to-people connectivity. Right now, 20,000 Pakistanis are studying in Chinese universities on scholarship under the Belt and Road Initiative and for the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. So when the BRI was announced, it was an alternative means of development for the developing countries. And that is why, as Mr. Wang Yiwei said correctly, that all of these countries in the developing world have signed the MOU of the BRI, and even some in the Eastern Europe, including Italy. The Greece port of Paris is also being built by China Harbour Engineering Corporation under the BRI. So the Belt and Road Initiative began as an economic project, has enhanced connectivity, but at the same time, it has unfortunately threatened countries which had deep entrenched interests, because certain countries feel that their influence, their status in the other parts of the world is going to be challenged, reduced, and diluted because of the Belt and Road Initiative. And that is why we see a very well choreographed disinformation campaign against the BRI. What is that disinformation campaign? It's a debt trap. The BRI projects have a high carbon footprint. They are not climate friendly. The BRI projects do not improve the local communities' livelihood. So we see that there is a lot of media reports, propaganda against the Belt and Road Initiative. However, these are not evidence-based claims. And I would like to quote a few papers which I personally liked and which prove what the Belt and Road Initiative has done so far. And these are from independent media. One is by the leading think tank of Washington, the Atlantic Council. The Chinese debt trap is a myth. This is the name of the paper, written and published by the Atlantic Council in Washington. The Chinese debt trap is a myth. And this paper seeks to analyze, understand on empirical research of how the BRI projects in different countries have not added to the debt of those countries. In fact, the debt of those countries are linked to other institutions. For example, the World Bank and the IMF. One example is Pakistan. Pakistan owes about $4.5 billion to China, which is a very small fraction of Pakistan's debt to its international lenders. Majority of the investment in the China-Pakistan economic corridor has been on foreign direct investment. Secondly, there was a very good study in the Washington Post. It was done by researchers of the Johns Hopkins University. And it is called US Politicians Get China in Africa All Wrong. Excellent study, and I would recommend my friends here to definitely look into this. Why US politicians get China and Africa all wrong. And these researchers of the Johns Hopkins University visited the BRI project sites in Africa. They didn't sit in their room in the United States. They went to the sites, they went to African countries, they interviewed people, primary interviews, primary research, and then they wrote this paper, which was published in the Washington Post. And because, as we know, that there's a big footprint of BRI in Africa, and that also suggested and demonstrated this paper that the local communities, there's a direct correlation of BRI projects and the improvement in the lives of the local communities. Furthermore, there is when we talk about the BRI, and when I read the Western press, they always say that China has forced a country to give their port to them. Some country which has not been able to pay its overdue payment has lost its sovereignty to China. And a very important part of the story which is missed is that the BRI is a consensual project. It is a bilateral and a multilateral project. It is based on consensus and consultation. Because when we talk about the BRI, a lot of people say, oh, China has done this. But for example, when we talk about Pakistan, there is a joint coordination committee in which there's the NDRC from the Chinese side and the Planning Commission from the Pakistan side, and all decisions are taken jointly. And in fact, Pakistan suggests we would like to put this project in the BRI, or we would like to put that project in the BRI. And a lot of the time, the host country is asking for a specific project or a specific investment or a specific assistance. So it is mutual, bilateral, multilateral. It is not only China dictating the terms. It is based on consensus, and we have experienced this here in Pakistan. And the Senator Mashahid Hussain was the chairman of the parliamentary committee which the Prime Minister had created on the China-Pakistan economic corridor. So this is our experience as the flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative. What do we need to do to make sure that the Belt and Road Initiative is protected from controversy? I think that countries that, and the Senator, I think, made a good suggestion that there should be a coordinated approach between the countries, particularly the Friends of Silk Road clubs at least, that there is this malicious media campaign against China to contain China. Anything that China does is made controversial, including the BRI. There are many other instances where China is being contained or attempted to contain China. And that is why there is this disinformation campaign. And I think it's very important to have an evidence-based response, a response of what the countries where the BRI is taking place are experiencing. And those countries and the people from those countries should speak for themselves, like we are doing right now in this seminar, to share their own story, to share their own narrative, to share what they think about the BRI. I think the BRI should be represented by the countries that are benefiting from the BRI. Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Philippines, Thailand is here. We should all speak and share our perspectives of what is happening in our countries. Only then we will be able to effectively reject such attempts to defame the Belt and Road Initiative. And lastly, I would also take this opportunity to congratulate China on the 19th Central Committee, successful 19th Central Committee meeting, and the 6th plenum of the 19th Central Committee, and the historic resolution that has come from the 6th plenum of the 19th Central Committee. I think this resolution has very important consequences for China and the neighboring countries, and we welcome this joint resolution that has come out of China, and we wish the Chinese people even more prosperity and success as the CPC takes China forward and shares the development and the fruits of poverty alleviation with the rest of the countries. Thank you very much. I would now like to request Mr. Gayatri De Zoisa from Sri Lanka and the Pathfinder Group to make their speech, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
My apologies, madam.
Yes, I'm Mrs.
Please, over to you.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Senator Mushahid Hussain Said and delegates of the FOSR Club, good afternoon from Sri Lanka, and thank you for providing me the opportunity to speak at this forum, representing the Pathfinder Foundation, which is a member of the Friends of the Silk Road Club. The year 2021 is a year of great significance for the Chinese people as they grandly celebrated the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Communist Party of China. As a party with a 100-year history and 91.94 million members, the CPC has been instrumental in uplifting the Chinese nation to its present position as one of the global superpowers. The transformation of a nation controlled by great powers into the second largest economy of the world within a century is indeed an unparalleled accomplishment. It is also notable that this year, China has achieved the objective of the complete elimination of absolute poverty, in keeping with one of the United Nations sustainability goals of ending poverty by the year 2030. As Friends of the Chinese, the Pathfinder Foundation has the pleasure of congratulating the Communist Party of China on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the founding of the CPC and has hopes for a long and fruitful relationship. We must now make mention of the fact that the One Belt, One Road cooperation between China and Sri Lanka is progressing well. The BRI has bipartisan support from all political parties in Sri Lanka, as demonstrated by the support extended in 2014, which was reconfirmed by the subsequent administration, different administration at the BRI summit held in May in 2017. Since then, we have witnessed high scope for development of economic relations and investment opportunities. Roads, railways, seaport and airport, and power generation projects were some major economic projects undertaken under the Belt and Road Initiative. Much large economic opportunities may become possible if industrial zones as envisaged in Hambantota become a reality. Consequently, over the years, Chinese companies have gained experience in engaging in business and investment activities in Sri Lanka. The most significant of these is the Colombo Port City project, 100% foreign investment by China, which is now in the process of infrastructure development. Earlier this year, the Pathfinder Foundation, as a member of the Silk Road Think Tank Association, was invited to present its experiences and engagement with IDCPC over the past few years. and most notably in 2020 at a virtual conference held in March this year. This event also saw the participation of other countries that are friends of the Silk Road, who presented similar experiences with the SRTA. Our presentation included experiences of the China-Sri Lanka Cooperation Studies Center with the Silk Road Think Tank Association, which included conferences, joint programs, exchange of scholars, delegation visits, and translation of books. In terms of enhancing the relationship between the two countries, besides Track 1 initiatives, the Pathfinder Foundation has made its contribution by establishing a center dedicated solely to China-Sri Lanka relations and related activities. The main objective of the China-Sri Lanka Cooperation Studies Center is to play a catalytic role in promoting and facilitating China-Sri Lanka relations in all possible sectors and areas to achieve mutually beneficial win-win outcomes. PF's collaboration with our Chinese colleagues goes back to 2016 with delegation visits and joint programs. We are appreciative of the fact that over the past year, nearly 20 FOSR events covering a wide range of topics, including Belt and Road Cooperation, global cooperation on COVID-19 response, poverty eradication, among others, have been successfully launched, promoting the development of the Belt and Road Initiative and facilitating people-to-people exchanges. Moving forward, we at Pathfinder have identified several areas of interest and cooperation between China and Sri Lanka. They are on cross-cutting policy issues, economy and trade, investment policy, tourism, apparel, and real estate. In addition, here are some suggestions for taking China's cooperation with its BRI partners further. For this, China and its friendly partners in the Silk Road need to explore new and probably out-of-the-box strategies and programs. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We believe that those need to result in visible and tangible relationship building in the following areas. One is promoting and facilitating Chinese investment and encouraging other businesses to invest in China. Exporting local products and services to the Chinese market while diversifying the sources of importing Chinese products to the respective countries. Jointly promoting the establishment of Chinese as well as other country businesses in each partner country and facilitate Chinese investment. Promoting cooperation in education, particularly in the fields of science, language, engineering, technology, medicine, etc. In this regard, the establishment of branches of Chinese academic institutions in countries may be pursued, as we already see several institutions affiliated with British, Australian, American universities operating in Sri Lanka and maybe in other countries as well already. Promoting increasing number of students to study in China through the provision of more scholarships as well as privately funded schemes. Establish training facilities for youth in skills development locally with Chinese expertise, machinery, equipment, and funding, similar to already existing institutions with assistance from Germany, Japan, and Korea. Promoting two-way tourism beyond traditional leisure and recreational activities with emphasis on civilizational and cultural linkages. The Pathfinder suggests that in order to maximize the benefit for China, Sri Lanka as well as other countries along the BRI, promotional measures in above-mentioned fields could use Sri Lanka as a hub. In order to achieve win-win cooperation, we could focus on the above areas by exploring opportunities, assessment of mutual needs, identifying or targeting relevant businesses, investors, institutions, public and private sectors, and then getting them to establish businesses or other enterprises in relevant markets. Thus far, people-to-people exchanges and think tank exchanges between China and Sri Lanka have made positive contributions to promoting bilateral relations over the years. and the Pathfinder Foundation has been honored to collaborate with Friends of the Silk Road and hopes to continue this relationship with the SRTA and expects to include further engagement and collaborative activities with our friends in the SRTA in our work plan for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Sri Lanka is a very important part of the Belt and Road Initiative, and wish you all the best. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dato Dr. G.P. Doraisamy, Committee Member, Malaysia-China Friendship Association, to be as the last speaker for the second session.
Thank you,
Over
sir.
to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mustafa, and also to Senator from the Pakistan China Institute. Very good evening, or good afternoon to all distinguished guests and all the invited guest speakers. All speakers spoke so well, and I don't think so I have much to add, as all of you have spoken so well about China and the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. And I must appreciate respected Mr. Mustafa. You gave a very good overview of the program. Yeah, a lot of what you said, malicious defamation, bad remarks have gone viral all over the world about China. But this is what we are now trying to bring back the good name of China, because China has been all the time been very good buddy, good friends with all the Southeast Asian countries, the Asia countries, in Africa, or for that matter, even in Europe. So they are doing wonders. So I would say, as far as Malaysia is concerned, just yesterday, we just concluded World Chinese Economic Forum, WCEF 2021, on the 27th of December. And about a couple of weeks ago, we had the Global Chinese Economic and Technological Summit. So there are many forums, many seminars, many conventions going on about China in Malaysia. As all of you know, that China has got a very close relationship, yeah, with China, and for so many centuries back, and the relationship, the government has built good relationship with China all this while. And then when President Xi Jinping introduced the Belt and Road Initiative way back in 2013, I think this was the start for some countries, took it on a very wrong mode, as what Mustafa earlier also mentioned about it. And I see that for some, this has influenced them, yeah, that China has been all the time on a bad name. People have no respect, much respect of China, because of media, recall bad reporting. All this while we have been following certain countries, and that China had all the while had a closed door policy. And when I landed in China way back 31 years ago, to be exact, 1990, when I saw China at that time, it just opened its doors for the world, way back in the mid 70s. So it was a very different China at that time, very what do you call a poor country, less developed, but they had the capital, that is the people, the spirit to come up in life. I can see that the Chinese had that spirit. They wanted to come out to the world to be with us. And within a couple of decades now, we are part of China. We are part of China. And for that matter, Malaysia has gone has made many good bilateral relationship with China, and we have the ECRL, the Eastern Coastal Railway link, very big. It's about 665-kilometer link, which done by China, and we have the very big a city called Forest City, developed by China, and also we have many cultural exchanges, youth exchanges between China and Malaysia. So for that matter, what is important now, what we are discussing is the connectivity and the communication. These are the two very important components of the economy. That is, we call it the veins and the artery of bilateral relationship or multilateral relationship. So that is what we are building, the connectivity and the communication between China and Asian countries, African countries, or South Asia countries, all around the world. And this is what China has come out all this while. As we know, communist China has got they've been made a bad name in the world, and when China opens up the door, this is where we saw the true color of China. Now China is out there to help countries. China has gone into many countries, including Malaysia, into many countries, and they are helping the people. As what some defamation, some bad remarks of China has gone to, but that is not China. Today we are together with China. Many countries have gone into China, and China is coming into the Asian countries, to the African countries, to the Eastern European countries. They've gone in, and all this while they have built a good name. They are not there to conquer a country, as what some people think that, that is not in the mind. It is to build the people. And that's what China is building now. Now, the BRI is a very good concept from China. It has built good relationship with Pakistan, with Bangladesh, with Myanmar, with Laos, with Cambodia, Mongolia, Tajikistan, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Singapore, and all this. And we are looking forward for that connectivity right from Singapore into Malaysia, into Thailand, right into Vietnam, into Laos, connect into the Asian countries and straight to Beijing. And that is the connectivity we are talking. Today we are in a world of connectivity. Now we are in this session. We could be connected. Why? Because of the technology. And China has got technology. And they have that. And that is what some countries are very apprehensive, worried, scared, fearful of China. So this has been the history all this while. The concept of conquering another country, the concept of using another people of another country. That is how we grew up. But today we are in a different world. Since Xi Jinping came out with this concept of BRI, of connectivity and communication, since 2013, the whole world has changed. Today we are in a different world. Today we are seeing China in a different angle. And I'm amazed. 3 years back, when I landed back in China, China has improved. Not double, not twice, many times. It has improved in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, in terms of trade, and they have improved. And this is what we are learning from China. There are so much things that we can learn from China, and this is the time that we are tapping the economies, the brilliance, the technology of China, and that is what China is willing to share with countries like the developing countries or the underdeveloped countries. And this is where we are sharing the mind, the knowledge, the experience from China. So we are on the right track. This is a very wonderful program. As I would say that Malaysia is ever ready to support China all this while, and we have been supporting, and there are so many coming economics forum, conventions that's coming up, And I'm very happy under the Malaysia-China Friendship Association. We're very delighted that Pakistan-China Institute is on the right track, yeah, with a good leadership and having this kind of forum. Now what is the Chinese dream? The Chinese dream is all about the spirit of friendship. It's about peace. It's about cooperation. It's about openness. It's about inclusiveness. It's about mutual leadership, mutual learning, and mutual benefits. That's what I can see. That is not as what other people, of course, the other side of the coin, there are people who are negative. There are people who throw stones on us. But that is not, I think that is not China. All this while we have built that good relationship and we are like brothers and sisters with China. So forget about all that bad remarks, that malicious remarks or the defamatory remarks about China. We have to be together, not like unlike other countries that has been all the time in the mood of conquering, having bad remarks on other countries. So they sidetrack our mind, and this is where we grew up in a very colonial mindset. But China is not. China is part and parcel of the community. China is willing to build the people. Yeah, that is what China is doing. China is willing to build the infrastructure of the country so that we can prosper together. It is not only China that is going to prosper, that we want to build together. And that's what we have, this holistic approach. That is, we go by the law of that particular country, we respect the country, and at the same time, we have the social responsibility to build the people of that country. So the laws of that country, China has got so much respect for Malaysia, they respect the Malaysian law. And at the same time, they are building the social responsibility of China to the Malaysian people. And that's what I can see in the African countries, in Sri Lanka. I come into Sri Lanka many times. I could see how China is building up the economy of Sri Lanka, in so many other countries. So I think that is the image that China is building up. So there is a role play. China is playing a role play that it is all market based. Market based here means to build the regional economy, the regional economic cooperation mechanism for a success for enterprises. So there are many enterprises that are building up in this portion of the world, in the South Asian, the Asian region. And that is what China is building up. And for that, it needs the commitment, it needs the communication, it needs the connection. Without communication, without connection, nothing can work. We have to have that communication and that connectivity. And that's why we are here on this session today. Because of that, because we have the IT technology, the infrastructure, that is China has it. And China is willing to share with us. Now let us take that values. What are the values here? To build a community of shared interest. That is what they are trying to do. Shared interest. To build a community of shared interest, shared responsibility, shared future, and of course, we have we want to look for a favorable environment. That is what we are looking for. And this is the role that China is playing in this part of the world. And of course, we have to look into what are the reforms and development that we have built all this while. There are so many, most of the invited guest speakers have spoke so well about the reforms and development of how China has transformed the countries in the Asian region, in the African region, or in the other continents, in the Africa continent, in the Eastern Bloc, Europe continent. So there are a lot of reformation happening. There are a lot of transformation happening. And there are many developments coming up because of China. And this is what some countries are apprehensive. They are worried. They are anxious. They are fearful of China. So the word is here. Certain countries are fearful of China's expansion, not in military power. China is not willing to expand in military power. It's willing to expand in terms of building the people, building the mindset, the infrastructure of the country. And that is what China is building. So we have to be very careful, of this wrong mass media, wrong remarks of certain countries, and that we should not be following this kind of people. That is what we are in this forum. And it's beautiful for Pakistan China Institute to come up with such a very beautiful program like this. Now, of course, I have a lot of things to speak, but I would like not take so much of time. Now let me come to the conclusion. Now everything has to be balanced. The world economy has to be balanced. In all this world, the world economy has been lopsided. It's favorable to other countries. But here, what China is trying to do is building a world economy, a balanced world economy. And some of the speakers spoke how China came up with so much of help during the COVID time. They came out with so much of help, and they are helping countries. They're not quiet. They're willing to come out, and that is what China is about. And this is the time that we have to work together with China. Now let us move one at a step. It's what the ancient Chinese proverb that says, a long journey can only be covered by taking one step at a time. We have taken that step and we are moving forward. And that's what the Arabic proverb says, that the pyramid were built by piling one stone block upon another. It's a very tedious project, but it can be built. The pyramid can be built by adding one stone block on another. And that is what we are building. It's going to be a tough journey, but as the journey gets tough, the tough gets going. And of course, Rome was not built in a day. So for that matter, it will take some time. We will go through some turbulence time. We are going through some turbulence time. It's real testing now. But friends, I can tell you, we will come up as a success. We will succeed in this journey. We will succeed together with China. We will succeed, and that's where we got to prove. It's a matter of time that we will prove. Now we will pursue this initiative step by step. We will deliver the achievement. Every achievement we will deliver one by one. And of course, we will bring the true benefits to the people of the world. And that is what we are here to show to the world. Who we are. Together with China, we will come up as one strong force to be reckoned by the world. So with that, friends, thank you for giving me this opportunity, wonderful opportunity. And I wish all of you, in a matter of time, we have only 3 days before we see 2022, a very happy New Year 2022. Thank you to every speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dato Dr. G.P. Doraisamy. It was an excellent speech, and thank you very much for your kind words for the Pakistan China Institute. And I think you were very unequivocal about what's happening in the world and the role of China. And you didn't mince your words, and that is why I gave you some extra time, especially because
Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you.
Now,
yeah,
you're welcome. And now I would like to invite Madam Veronica S. Saraswati, who is the head of the China Unit Convener of the CSIS of Indonesia, which is a very important country in the Belt and Road Initiative, and also very geographically very importantly placed, and a very important country in the Muslim world as well. Madam Veronica, over to you. And
thank you very much, Mustafa. Can I?
Excuse me?
Sorry, can I start it right now?
Yes, please. And you are the first speaker of topic 3, which is working together towards a shared future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mustafa, for these opportunities. This is my honor to join in this forum, and thank you very much again to give me this opportunity. I'd like to share about the BRI challenges and future based on ASEAN experience. China's Belt and Road Initiative project is highly significant to developing countries, especially during and after COVID-19 pandemic. There are many shortages which needs to be improved for an effective BRI project to be carried out in the future. What must be done now to improve and to overcome the past shortage, as well as to enhance the progress and effectivity of the future BRI project, is by establishing accurate goals and implementation strategies. On top of that, conduciveness of ASEAN's geopolitics is also a determinant factor. During and after this pandemic, it is expected for China to gain momentum in strengthening BRI projects in ASEAN. There is no doubt that ASEAN needs China, particularly in health and economy sectors. The unpreparedness of ASEAN countries in facing pandemic that likely to be followed by an economic crisis is the main argument for China's significant role in ASEAN. When facing a pandemic, there are two important factors to consider, namely advanced science and technology and health system management. China excelled in both factors. In fact, those are both determinant factors of China's success story in overcoming the pandemic. So, during and after the pandemic, China is expectedly to also have inputs in health sectors other than emphasizing only in the economy sector in the BRI project. Health sectors can include infrastructures buildings of healthcare system and providing advanced technology in improving quality of health sectors in ASEAN countries. This can be the right momentum for China together with ASEAN countries in establishing a regional healthcare system regime. Currently, China is the only partner of ASEAN who has the right capacity to embody a regional healthcare system regime. Therefore, only prepared countries that are able to overcome the pandemic and its effect on economic rapidly, healthcare system projects are urgently needed by every country to anticipate possible pandemics in the future that could happen anytime. Evidently, has experience investing these two factors. The sustainability of BRI is highly determined by the acceptance of BRI by ASEAN countries. The determining factors are, first, conducive geopolitics of ASEAN. Second, an accurate set of goals and strategies in implementing the projects. Initiating sustainability in ASEAN cannot be done by only the government, but also research institutions have an important role in carrying out soft power to bolster up the BRI project in ASEAN. It is important for China to increase their cooperations with research institutions. Chinese social and political researchers need to increase their cooperations with ASEAN research, or even to an extent of establishing a network comprises of both Chinese and ASEAN researchers. So therefore, China will require input from research institutions and think tanks in ASEAN countries. I finish here, Mr. Mustafa. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Veronica, for your very nice speech. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Anand Prasad Pokharel from the Political Bureau, a member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Nepal, to make his remarks, please.
Honorable Musaid Hussain Said, leaders from IDCPC and other expert and intellectual from different South Asian countries and East Asian countries. And ladies and gentlemen, Hello and namaste from land of Buddha and center of the Himalayas, Nepal. I would like to thank the event organizer, Friends of the Silk Road, Pakistan, for giving me this opportunity. I would also like to thank Friends of Silk Road, Pakistan, for organizing a series of events promoting friendship and mutual understanding between China and the rest of the world. Mr. Kalyan, Dr. Kalyan Sharma highlighted Nepal-China relation and BRI, its implementation in Nepal and its support, and very hot issues, MCC also. Now I am going to deliver a speech on building Trans-Himalayan community for prosperity and shared future together. This BRI is not only connectivity, in my opinion, is the path of the socialism. Then this is one of the most important philosophy to implement socialism in this globe. Allow me to present my speech. The Himalayan region is not only the third pole of the world or the water tower of Asia, but is the center of civilization, Buddhism, diverse culture, prosperity, since ancient time, and bridge that brings together Trans-Himalayan community in Asia. The Belt and Road Initiative has created this new opportunity in the Himalayan region, especially the idea of connectivity between the Himalayan people. It is a historic opportunity for prosperity, sovereignty, friendship, and partnership in promoting people-to-people connection, societal development, economic growth, and environmental protection. However, this opportunity is being challenged by the geopolitical interests of the West, where the Indo-Pacific strategy has been promoted to counter this historical opportunity created by the BRI and the Himalayan connectivity. Nepal and other small countries in the region must find ways to avoid such geopolitical pressure and must find ways to help these countries to foster their own development path. The COVID pandemic has created another difficulty for us, but we must find ways to shift implemented connectivity programs so that the inspiration and hopes that people in the Himalayan have developed become true. The Belt and Road Initiative presents opportunity for the realization of a future for humanity because it aims to bring about global prosperity that is equitable and shared among nations. The idea is to ensure that infrastructure is built, jobs are created, and human prosperity is generated. A shared future must also be built on common prosperity through win-win cooperation. Development is only meaningful when it is inclusive and sustainable. Trans-Himalayan connectivity for Himalayan prosperity. We consider the Belt and Road Initiative as a transformative and visionary undertaking of the President Xi Jinping, launched in 2013. For us, it is a significant milestone that aims at promoting comprehensive connectivity and cooperation among the countries and peoples in the region and beyond. Market connectivity must be supported by institutional connectivity, realizing micro and mega policies which requires connectivity between public and private sector. Financial and legal connectivity. In other area where we have to connect the money and exchange regimes, that's why we have to trade and exchange regimes that use national currencies while developing capital and bond market too. Financial and legal connectivity is another area where we have to connect the money and exchange regime. This way, we have a trade and exchange regime that uses national currency while developing capital and bond market too. Connectivity between municipalities is also important to understand local development plans to help municipalities integrate themselves with the BRI, BCIM, or the Himalayan Economic Corridor. Human capital connectivity is fundamental if we are to have all this connectivity, not just for growth, but also job. This calls for connectivity in the areas of science, technology, education, and where we seek common standard and technical qualification. The Trans-Himalayan BRI encompasses the cross-border and road networks, the railway lines, oil pipelines, information, highway, energy, grid, skyways, and transmission highways. This initiative aims at utilizing the rich resources along the Himalayan range and improving the quality of lives of people in the entire Himalayan region. The basic concept of these connectivity projects are based on national priorities, market potential in this region, promote investment, create a demand and job opportunity, enhance the people-to-people and cultural exchange and mutual learning. Since the multilateralism and collective effort are facing tremendous challenge, and the tendency toward the self-centeredness and protectionism is an emerging initiative like BRI can play an instrumental role to develop collectivism and to protect the spirit of economic globalization and more sustainable value of addition. Current situation and its implication in the Himalayan region. We are at a time where the superpower nations are in competition within the themselves, promoting imperialism, colonialism, trading of weapons, and extending oneself with nuclear weapons. China, one of the superpower nations, on the other side, is sharing the development in the leadership of President Xi to the world with the slogan of community shared prosperity in the future for mankind. In the project called Belt and Road Initiative, to create one global community with a simple ideology. Prosperity of one nation should be the foundation for another nation's prosperity. President Xi has said the whole community should have growth together, be it economically or socially. China's vision is based on three pillars: cooperative, security, common development, and political inclusiveness. That is, we are all equal partners. We think that for all of our friends present today at this conference, this is something to heavily empathize about Chinese foreign policy and to emphasize that such a policy is on the basis of peaceful development and shared prosperity with others. With the rise and popularity of China in the globe, the superpower countries are very anxious. They are uniting against China with continuous attack in China. We can see the trade war in effect, the attack of China for COVID-19 response. Simultaneously, the issue of Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Tibet, all these are happening to halt the implementation of BRI project. In the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, we also experienced regional border tension between Nepal and India and China. Global balance of power is shifting toward Asia, but at the same time, this growing geopolitical tension is directly impacting smaller countries like Nepal. Divide and conquer strategy will underway within us. We are very committed to non-interference and equal friendship with our neighbor and friends around the world. However, we are aware of the fact that global power centers always aim to advance their interests through the various means. We will not entertain any such type of intervention, and we expect the same from our friends. Trans-Himalayan community, Nepal's prosperity, even though Nepal and China have only 65 years of modern diplomatic relations, both countries have a long history of connectivity, friendship, and interdependence. We are committed to one China policy and our focus is regional peace and prosperity. In spite of numerous geopolitical hurdles, Nepal has signed the MOU on BRI in 2017. In the ground created by the landmark first visit by the Nepal's PM KP Oli 2016, Nepal is a very interested partner in this endeavor and would like to play a central role in conceptualization and implementing the Himalayan BRI by developing multi-dimensional connectivity across the Himalayas. In this context, the state visit of the President of Nepal, Right Honorable Vidya Devi Bhandari, the visit of Prime Minister, Right Honorable KP Sharma Oli, and the visit by the Chinese President Xi Jinping and several other high-level visits, signed 18 MOUs and 2 letters of the intent, which have elevated our relation to newer heights. These exchanges have ensured the BRI implementation as the highest priority from both sides. However, there are feelings at the people's level that implementation is slower, as the people would like to see this happening soon. Trans-Himalayan connectivity will promote accessibility, economic activity, and local development. It will also provide new dynamics with the increased tourism development resulting in increasing in the economic activity in the Himalaya region of Nepal. We regard high significance Nepal-China transfer connectivity in furthering trade, investment, and tourism, and in promoting industrialization in through access to global value chain. To concretely achieve this prosperity possibility in Nepal, we are committed to develop a broader partnership on economic corridors, connectivity, infrastructure, and skill and technology transfer through the Himalayan BRI framework for shared prosperity. Contemporary challenge. The COVID-19 pandemic has created a new challenge to develop a trans-Himalayan connectivity, suffering heavily in terms of economic growth, tourism, remittance, and other forms of development work. This is further complicated by the growing geopolitical tension in the region as well. There is a danger that much needed resource and investment could be diverted to something else. If this happens, then the historic opportunity to truly break the barrier and develop a new era in the Himalayas will be lost. Both sides must consider these points seriously, take action immediately. This has allowed us to realize that Nepal must develop a self-reliant and vibrant economy so that we are not always impacted negatively in frequently growing global pandemic and natural disaster. We must not forget BRI partnership was very influenced in global fight against COVID, where BRI partner countries received 350 million of vaccines supported on grants and commercial deals. Nepal has received 8.3 million vaccines on different times on grant and commercial deals. With all being said, I am fully confident that as the Himalayan range reemerges as a vital connecting link, Nepal's trajectory of economic development will witness in rapid and positive transformation. And I am sure that Nepal and China share the common views on developing a trans-Himalayan multi-dimensional transport network with long-term vision for uplifting the living standard of people living in this region. Conclusion. I propose that the post-COVID-19 situation should be utilized immediately to start BRI implementation in the Himalaya region, and we pay close attention to the flowing points for the successful implementation of BRI in the Himalayas. For the Trans-Himalayan Railway line is at the heart of the regional connectivity. This needs to be at the highest priority for all sides. Second, the economic corridor and the trade zone along the Himalayas should be identified and bringing in cooperation for mutual benefit. This will enhance the people-to-people connection. Third, the concept of BRI should help us to conceptualize a framework for the development of unique Himalayan landscape that are vast and unique. It will revitalize the region of achieve self-sufficiency. Fourth, we create a trans-Himalayan BRI from involving intellectuals from Himalayan countries, which will act as a think tank for the overall implementation of the project. This needs to be started immediately. Fifth, concept of a community of shared future emphasizes the virtue of holistic thinking, cosmopolitan ideals, and the pursuit of lasting peace and the shared prosperity. A country's national interests are to be pursued with our country's interest in the mind. Sixth, the BRI holds unique significance for infrastructure projects and help countries fully use and benefit from their resources by better participating in the global supply. BRI is bigger than any of the regional models and does not compete with other regional models. Rather, it complements them, making China is a role integral, especially in relation to emerging for weak economies. And lastly, the historical opportunity created by the BRI should be realized without any delay. Historic moment arrive but not wait. The Trans-Himalayan region and its people are eager and enthusiastic about the possibility of new railway lines to connect. I believe the respective governments will begin integration of BRI in their development strategy. For the Himalayan region, we are waiting to practically implement the land bridge concept, create a multi-layered relationship, not only government to government, but also business to business, people to people action, which will bolster connecting trans-Himalayan region, creating a massive economic opportunity and reducing poverty. At last, Nepal and Pakistan have been sharing common views on wide range of global issues and have been closely associated at various international and regional bilateral and multilateral forums. And I would like to wish the cooperation will go a long way with next level cooperation in various fields, benefiting either side in overall development in the years to come. Thank you for listening to me. I am sorry for taking more time.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very comprehensive remarks, and we really enjoyed your speech. Now I would like to invite Professor K.D.N. Weerasinghe, convener of the Asia Progress Forum, to give their remarks, please.
So, good evening to all. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Please
Yes,
carry on.
good evening, dear organizers, resource persons and participants of the present conference, Belt and Road Cooperation between China and regional countries. So I am participating in this conference as a member of the Asia Progress Forum, and number of keywords now we quote from the previous speakers, like the I to we. That is what Mr. Wang said, that how to think in a common sense. And it is also very important that this project is going to get the prosperity of the region, which has lost, that is the lost glory of this region due to various colonization, other things, and under the leadership of China, now how we are going to revitalize this region. So I'm coming from Sri Lanka, as you understand. It is a pearl of Indian Ocean, which has been named previously. And as you know that Arthur C. Clarke, who was the visionary thinker of the globalized economy and globalization, and about the global village, lived in Sri Lanka all his life. So that I am coming from this area where now this present project, the Belt and Project, is been helping Sri Lanka to get back to their previous glory with the regional development. It is most important thing that we have to think about, that this is come as a socialist equality and under the equal thing without getting into the exploitation of man by man to man, which is one of the major, I think, theme of this project, which is, I think, coming with the leadership of China. So on behalf of the Asia Progress Forums, let me express our gratitude to the National Department of Communist Party of China and friends of the region and the Pakistani colleagues for inviting Asia Progress Forum to the current seminar on the Belt and Road Cooperation between China and regional countries under the theme Working Together Towards Shared Future. So if I talk about Asia Progress Forum, it is an independent organization comprising the academics and the professionals of Sri Lanka, which has been formed with an objective to adhere to the equality, social justice, and peace for social progress by strengthening relations with people and similar organizations in all countries of the world. So we concern an important current issues of the world and closely follow up them for opinion development, opinion expression to Communist Party of Sri Lanka and to the country. So I am happy to mention that APF stood very firmly with Sri Lankan government at a very recent incident of the widely disputed bill passed by the government on the argument, on the agreement signed with the People's Republic of China to manage and operate the newly built Colombo Port City, which is going to be an international hub of free trade and economic activities in South Asia. So the historical establishment of Chinese and Sri Lankan relationships goes back to the year 410, when Chinese voyager, Bhikkhu, Buddhist monk, Fahian visited Sri Lanka through the Silk Road. The monk's visit was instrumental in the renaissance of the Buddhism in Sri Lanka and China with strong cultural bonds. So Sri Lanka signed an agreement with China as rubber rice pact in 1952, which was a critical trade agreement for both economies when Sri Lanka was affected by worldwide rice shortage, as well as a severe drop of in rubber prices due to the introduction of synthetic rubber. This was the most favorable trade agreement signed in the history of our countries to collaborate on mutually benefited economic grounds. So as early as 1957, Sri Lanka established formal diplomatic relations with China, which was result of decades of activism by the socialist movement of the country under the leadership of Communist Party of Sri Lanka. Since then, our countries remained as closer friends, and people of China consistently stood for the sovereignty of concern stood for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Sri Lanka, especially during the long-lasted separatist war, tragedy of 2004 Asian tsunami, and all natural disasters, and against all imperialistic aggressions as well. So Sri Lanka and China have entered to many economic and technical cooperations after 1962, following Prime Minister Sirimao Bandaranaike's visit to China. As you know that Sirimao Bandaranaike was the leader of the non-aligned movement, and Sri Lanka since then is remained as the leader of the non-aligned movement. Even under this project also, Sri Lanka would like to remain as a non-aligned country and to support get into the regional development. So in 1963, the two countries signed an agreement on commercial maritime affairs, an agreement on economic and trade cooperation also signed in 1984. In 1982, Sri Lankan Chinese Joint Commission is formed with the broader objective to exchange of information and provide loan facilities for various development programs. So as a small country, Sri Lanka also co-sponsored the draft resolution that facilitated China's admission to the UN Security Council in 1971. And Sri Lanka supported China's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001. So the Sri Lanka and China upgraded bilateral relations during the former Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa's visit to China in 2013. There have also been several high-level visits by the heads of the state of the two countries, and Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Sri Lanka in 2014. In 2017, Sri Lanka and China celebrated the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations. During the COVID phase, commencing from 2019, Sri Lanka-China relations get an exponential growth. China has now become a major trading partner of Sri Lanka, amounting more than 5,000 million US dollars. So I have to mention that China has also been a major partner in Sri Lanka's drive towards economic development with committed financial assistance by way of grants and loans for priority development projects in Sri Lanka. There are currently several projects that have been or are being built with Chinese assistance, of which the major ones are the Hambantota Port, the Matara International Airport, the Colombo-Katunayake Expressway, the Noroccholi Coal Power Plant, the Madagascar Multi-Purpose Development Project, which deals with irrigation, drinking water, and electricity, the Matara-Kataragama Railway Line, and the Colombo Port City. It is also, I have to mention, the hospital for kidney disease, as well as an outpatient building at the National Hospital in Colombo has been also built through the Chinese Sri Lankan Corporation. So the two major projects, the Colombo Port City and the Hambantota Port, are flagship projects which could be linked to China's Belt and Road Initiative. We believe that being a tropical island with enriched biodiversity in the world, with the rich forest, water bodies, and hydraulic civilization of more than 2,600 years of written history, and well-established free education and health systems, and high literacy rate in ICT of 22 million people, Sri Lanka can be a very active friend and partner in the Belt and Road Initiative. Being a maritime hub in the Indian Ocean, in the Silk Road, from the antiquity, Sri Lanka has all the potential and people's blessings to become a center of cultural, trade, and commercial activities under the Belt and Road Initiative by developing infrastructure to promote trade, investment, and tourism. Specifically, the Hambantota Port can be a hub for commercial and security purposes in Belt and Road project. So let me take the opportunity to thank you again for offering this excellent opportunity to Asia Progress Forum to take part in this important forum, so that I think we have got exposure to how the regional cooperation can be happen through the friends of Pakistan and other friends of the region from their presentation. So it was, I think we have enjoyed very much for participating in this one. This is the first time we are participating in this forum, and we are looking forward to participate in future events and support to this project. with the Communist Party of Sri Lanka. And again, I'll thank you, all the organization, for giving this excellent opportunity for us to participate in this. Thank you very much. Long live Sri Lanka-China friendship. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor KD, for giving a great overview of the Sri Lanka-China friendship and how Sri Lanka has developed with the BRI and also your free trade agreement with China, because there's a lot of discourse on free trade agreements these days and equitable free trade agreements. And we are happy to know that Sri Lanka has prospered and benefited from the free trade agreement with China. And Sri Lanka is a very important country in South Asia. The last speaker before the concluding remarks is Mr. Herman Laurel, who is founder of the Philippine BRICS Strategic Studies Institute. And we would like to give the last speech before the concluding remarks to Mr. Herman Laurel. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Good day to everyone. Before I proceed, let me just compliment and support the suggestion earlier, I think, by the Honorable Mushahid Hussein Sayed to organize a web group, maybe Viber, maybe WeChat, so that we can exchange information and much details and referrals like what Mustafa Haider Sayed said, articles expounding on these issues. So I will proceed now. I am Herman T. Laurel, representing the Philippine BRICS Strategic Group based in Manila. It's been only 5.5 years since Philippines began its active engagement with China's Belt and Road Initiative. Our President Rodrigo R. Duterte began the determined exercise of our nation's constitutional mandate for an independent foreign policy and pursued rapprochement with all friendly nations, including our millennially brotherly and progressive neighbor, China. During President Duterte's first visit to President Xi Jinping in 2016, the Philippines joining China's One Belt, One Road was put to work. Successive years saw the signing of $25 billion worth of infrastructure project packages that did not take long to make its impact felt. Filipinos in several vital centers now see traffic and travel times cut in half due to bridges, roads, and so on. Agriculture sees new irrigated lands from new dams, floods abating with new flood control systems, and so on. The multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure part of the Belt and Road Initiative is internationally well known. It is, in fact, today an object of envy and copying by Western powers. But one thread in today's global Silk Road that was totally unexpected was conceived in the midst of the pandemic in the year 2020 and woven into the region's 2021 response to the regional vaccine offensive against COVID-19. I call it the new silk thread for life and health, not just health, but for life, because it is saving lives. Introduced by China's vaccine humanitarianism, not diplomacy. China's vaccines were the first to be donated and to arrive in the Philippines on February 28, 2021. Without this donation, our country could not have rolled out its vaccination campaign on March 1st and immunization of almost 30 million of our citizens by this time, and a great degree of normalization of the economy. The Silk Road thread probably has had the most immediate impact in converting the Filipino majority's attitude to China, predominantly adverse in the past 10 years, to openness and hopefulness in less than a year's time. By the middle of 2021, based on a mid-year survey of Publicus Asia, the Filipinos' attitude has become open to China, around 53%. As we all know, the Philippines has been thought of as the West leverage to dent ASEAN centrality and cooperation with China. This shift in popular perception goes a long way in abating that and establishing a calm atmosphere for our region to continue to develop along those BRI lines. Which now brings me to the third theme of today's seminar, working together towards a shared future, brainstorm suggestions, fine-tuning the BRI through exchanges and consultations. Well, one brainstorm I have discovered today is this forum that we have, this seminar. Speaking in this December now, month of the Western calendar, which is the season when mankind wishes and greets one another with peace on earth, goodwill to all men. It is ironic that it is the third world nations that are at the forefront of calling for the building of the community of shared future for mankind, win-win relationships, and infrastructures for development, progress, prosperity, and durable peace. The exchanges and consultations, such as we are conducting right now, is the brainstorm for me to know and understand what other nations are doing to move the Silk Road forward, the Belt and Road Initiative, and the building of the community of shared future for mankind, and report this to our people. And for me to report to you, the friends of the Silk Road Club and our colleagues in China in the IDCPC, what progress we are making in the Philippines in pursuit of the similar goals. All these boost our common dream and dynamism to build that shared future and resist the cynical oppositions to this glorious goal of our regional Silk Road community. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Herman Laurel. Philippines is a very important country, particularly the context of being right next to the South China Sea. And we look forward to further engagement with your organization as well. Now I would like to invite Senator Mushaid Hussain for his concluding remarks.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, friends from the Friends of the Silk Road Club Initiative. It's been such a pleasure and intellectually stimulating to hear all these speeches with passion, with conviction, and with so much content about what is happening and what more needs to be done. I think that when I was listening to those speeches, I felt that these are the voices of the Asian century, resonating among the people, whether of Indonesia or Malaysia or Philippines or Nepal or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or China or of Pakistan, and the impact was, or Thailand, the impact was very clearly the focuses that let us work together. I think today's meeting has been very constructive. I congratulate you on the success of this conference. We have been at it for the last 2.5 hours, and we have listened with attention to what has been said and what we have been speaking with each other about how to move forward. And I think that it presents a perspective. That is extremely important for all of us. That when we focus on issues, and those are issues that matter to our people, that we need to cooperate. Now, what form can that cooperation take? I think the meeting of the minds very clearly shows that we will work institutionally. I've already made the suggestion, and I'm glad it's been endorsed by some of the participants, whether it's about a WhatsApp group, whether it's about a website, or whether it's about an electronic newsletter, how we can interact with each other digitally, virtually, especially in these times of combat. And secondly, I think it's very important that we heard from so many of you the need to counter disinformation, to counter fake news, because that is the biggest challenge. And I was recently in Washington in the first week of November, and I learned that the US Senate has passed the Strategic Competition Act, which is basically a China-specific act, 270 pages long. And they have allocated, it's very interesting, specifically Countering China Influence Fund of $300 million a year. And I think that is a very key element. And what is the US concern about China? China is not exporting any instability, not interfering in any country, is following the UN Charter, international law. It's not invading, conquering, or colonizing any country. So and it's part of the WTO, part of the global movements. It's a source of stability. It has bought so much of the US debt also. It is leading in climate change. It is cooperating with coronavirus. What is the real issue? And the real issue was, and this was a report which I saw which just came 3 or 4 days before the so-called Democracy Summit of President Biden. The summit was on 9th and 10th of December. This report came on, I think, 5th or 6th of December by the Harvard University. And it was by Professor Graham Allison, which says the great tech rivalry, China versus US. And it says, and I quote from that, China has displaced the United States as the world's high-tech manufacturer. And in 2020, China produced 1.5 billion smartphones, 250 million computers, and 25 million automobiles. So that is the problem, that China is moving ahead in the field of high tech, in the field of and artificial intelligence, in the field of 5G and so forth. And that is why the US is conjuring up new kinds of initiatives for a new Cold War, whether it's the AUKUS, which is actually, frankly, Australia, UK, US is a white man's club. And there's no place in Asia for that, because we reject any notion of a new Cold War. And I think that is going to be one of the bigger challenges for us, how we take this forward, especially in this initiative. And as they say in English, imitation is the highest form of flattery. They criticize the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, but then they want to imitate it also, whether it's the global gateway of Europe, the European Union, or whether it's the B3W, the Build Back Better World of Biden. So, you know, they also want to follow what China is doing, because the BRI is a success story. And so in this context, those of us who are now part of this Asian community of the Friends of Silk Road, I think we have our task very clearly ahead of us. We have to cooperate closely together, institutionally, relate to our people, because what we are doing is in the interest of the people of Asia, interest in the people of our own societies and countries. It's win-win cooperation. We have to counter disinformation, fake news, and we also have to reject any notion of a new Cold War. That has no place in the Asian mindset. And then we have to move forward through a specific cooperation. And I hope that we will have a plan ready maybe in the new year for this kind of cooperation. I feel that today's meeting has been, I was there to listen and learn, and I learned a lot about all the countries and all the speakers, because they all gave very informed presentations. So thank you so much. It's been a great experience. We have learned from each other, we have listened to each other, and we have decided to cooperate closely for the greater good of our people. And the best platform for that is the Friends of the Silk Road, which is a people's platform, grassroots platform, and which relates to the common man and the common woman in our respective societies. Thank you so much, and I wish you good health, stay safe, and a very happy and a prosperous new year. And I think we are already embarked on the path of peace, progress, and prosperity. And that is the future we want, not a future of conflict or confrontation. Thank you so much. And long live the Asian spirit of solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. And before we close, maybe we can have a group photo with our thumbs up like this. For the newspapers, we will have extensive media coverage in different newspapers in our countries. So maybe I'll count from 3 to 1, and at 1, then the picture will be taken by our IT. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It was such a pleasure. Very grateful to friends from China, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, and all other countries. And I see our friend, Mr. Ahmed Iqbal Baloch from Balochistan as well. Good to see you, sir. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. All the best. Bye-bye. Yeah? जी हाँ बंद कर दें हमें